Hello everyone and welcome to episode 3 of Surrey Tennis Talks. We have a relatively shorter episode today, but we're going to fill it jam-packed full of useful information, updates for you, and we're also going to touch on a couple of Ask Justin questions. So Justin, how have you been? Are you well?
Yeah, very well, thank you, Lewis. Yeah, very relieved that junior tennis unaffected by the new COVID rules that came out this week. So I think that had everybody on the edge of their seat.
Yeah.
So of course, only applies to adults indoors. No changes to junior tennis at all. And I think that's, it's really good, really reassuring, especially with, junior programs up and running again for the autumn term. A lot of work has gone into preparing tennis, preparing signs and lines and everything, and making sure that everyone knows. So it would have been very irritating and upsetting and frustrating to have had things change. But by all means, it looks to me like they're trying to keep kids' lives the same, and normal.
Yeah.
Go to school, do your activities, and I think it's just the old coaches like me that we're the sort of vulnerable ones. We're the ones that got to watch out. We've got to stay fit, but I think we're okay. Yeah, fingers crossed, Lewis. We'll get through the winter.
Fantastic. Well, speaking of COVID not affecting county training, do you want to give us a quick update on how that's looking going into the winter season?
Yes, well, a lot of people would have got their invitations this week. I just want to say not all the invitations have gone out yet. It's quite tricky at the moment with LTA switching over from rating system to world tennis number, and the age groups changing during the year during lockdown, so we're not in seasons anymore. Plus, we don't have any mini tennis ratings to go on anymore either. Plus, there hasn't been any competitions to really judge players by. And we sort of say we try and do things off the rankings so that it's always the players that are deciding if they're in training or not. So what I would say to anybody a little bit worried, if you're not sure, then drop me a line if you were in training last season, because the idea is to use this autumn, first half of the winter up until December, give it a real chance to have a look at everybody, get everybody into some sessions. We'll have lots of spaces. We've got lots of great venues. So we'll get all of our county training players and good Surrey players. We'll get everybody in to have a look, and then we'll put some really tight sessions together from January once we've had to look at everybody. So that would be great. So just to let you all know, yes, I've sent out 14 different age groups of training. That's girls and boys. It's a lot of players, up to 16 spaces in each age group across the whole county, using our great indoor centres and partners. So that's where we are. So there's still a few invitations to go out. If you haven't signed up yet and you've been invited, please sign up quickly, because within a week of any training session, I will go to my reserve list. So I'll send that out and remind everybody on email, but get signed up on Club Spark. Any problems with that, give me or Debbie a shout in the office. But yeah, excited. Coaches are ready to go, and so are the players, I'm sure.
Yeah, chomping at the bit, no doubt. And I should say we are, of course, keeping on top of all government guidance, LTA guidance. So if there's any updates that we need to give, we will be the first ones to do that. So which is always a relief. So in terms of 2021 County Cup, assuming everything goes ahead as planned, which we of course all hope it does, do we have our captains lined up? Have we got everything in place?
We do, and proud of themselves they should be, and their clubs should also be proud of them. So looking after all sort of under 8 and under 9. We don't really have county cups for under 8, but we often do some friendlies, and there's a southeast sort of regional event that goes on under 8, but we do have under 9 county cup. So we've got Chris Dorr, Andy Jeffrey, Kate Marici and Matt Travail looking after those age groups in terms of county cup. And if we go sort of girls under 10, Sophie Cockle is our captain and Karen Cross is our assistant. So well done to them. Very good. Boys 10s, David Lovejoy, captain, and Matt Healy, assistant. And I mean, the captains and the assistants, I mean, they work so closely together, Lewis, that they're really a team that are pretty inseparable over the weekend and share the on-court, off-court duties. So no less being an assistant. I can tell you that. Boys 11s, because the under 11 county cup is the new county cup that didn't happen this year, should have done. Heading up the boys there, we've got Tom Lavis from Sutton Tennis and Squash, and we've got Tom Crisp from Surbiton. So the two Toms. Girls, we've got under 11s will be Chrissy Runnicles and Claire Bertram, and Chrissy's she's playing out of Reed School, and Claire Bertram over near Farnham. So we've got a good mixture as well of captains and sort of demographic using and geography. Boys 12s, Mark Wisdom, captain for a few years, does a great job with Dave Cox. Dave Cox just set up at King's Tennis Centre in Chiswick, and Mark Wisdom forever out of Woking. Lucy Charlton looking after the under 12 girls. She's newly appointed at St George's Hill Tennis Club, so congratulations, Lucy. I hope it's going well for you there. And she'll be working with Emily Sutcliffe, who was at the Guildford Tennis Academy. Great addition to our team from last year. I should have said earlier, actually, that sort of David Lovejoy works out of David Lloyd Purley, and Matt Healy also out of Surbiton. Sophie Cockle got her own business, Sophie Cockle Tennis, and Karen Cross out of Roehampton. Under 14 boys, Sean Malcolm, working a little bit out of Sutton Tennis Academy now with his own setup. Under 14 boys captain, he is there. He's working with Craig Veal. They've got their own setup now, working out of Sutton, doing a great job looking at sort of 14, 15, 16-year-olds that want to go to American University, that are a bit freer during the day, and they can do some great training. So he's working out there. I think also working out of Cheam Fields is Sean. And he'll be working with Chris Tucker, head pro over at the Guildford Tennis Academy. Girls under 14s, Alison Taylor, head coach at Westside. She'll be looking after the under 14 girls alongside sort of joint captaining this role with Penny Batchelor, who's been a stalwart with the 14s, and she's out of Downswood. So great team there. So boys under 18s, John O'Ward, head coach and head of tennis over at St George's College, and he'll be working with Ben Cullen, who is over at a couple of schools. He's at ACS Cobham, Notre Dame, or Notre Dame if you're in America. I'm not sure what you say, you know. and then on the girls' side, we got Candy Reid working out of the county at the moment. Don't tell anybody, Lewis. It's between me and you, right? She's working down in Hampshire at David Lloyd, but great Surrey captain. And she'll be working with former world ranked player Anna Bedbrook, who are also working out of St George's College. So well done to all our captains and assistants. We've got a great team. Love working with you guys, and we do our best for the players, and we do our best for the county every year. So that's it. That's how our team's looking, Lewis.
Exciting. So for those of you, or for those who may be watching this thinking, oh wow, I would love to someday be a county cup captain, do you want to give us a quick run through as to what's involved from a captain? Obviously you were a captain at one point as well. What does an assistant do? How do they work together? And what is the role of a county cup captain, really?
Right, well, every year we go into battle with, depending on the age group, it's a slightly different format. Sometimes it's very local and regionalised, like at under 8s and under 9s, very local. And then under 10 all the way up to under 10 through under 14, you have a local sort of level, regional level event that then takes the teams through to national finals, and you're playing for a national final. At the 18s, it just goes on a promotion, a relegation sort of system year on year. So you've got one event to prepare for. So the captains and assistants, I need people that can turn up, have a really big impact on these weekends. The events, they don't run all year round. That's what county training is there for. So the county training in the age group sort of gives a broader range of training to far more players. County Cup, we have to trim right down to a small team, anywhere from sort of 4 players to 8 players. Under 18, you can take 10 players. So you're looking for people that, as I say, we need big characters. Either the captain or the assistant, big character, really can sit on the court, probably got some experience of their own. They've played at big tournaments. They can sit down with the players and really talk them through some tough matches where you're playing for your county and you've got your teammates screaming on the balcony wanting you to win a point desperately for Surrey. And then we have, you know, a lot of off-court organising as well. Someone's got to better drive the minibus, that's for sure. Someone's got to better be polite at the hotel and organise all the players and make sure they all get their, you know, if they've got any special needs like breakfast and make sure nobody gets ill as well. There's a pastoral side to it. You've got to look after these players as if they're your own. So it's always nice when our captains or assistants have maybe got children themselves, but most of our captains have either got children, they run a great program, so they're around these kids all day. I think it's also nice if you're working in the age group, like individually working with players in the age group. It's quite nice when you turn up at a tournament as a captain or as an assistant and you know the other team's players, because you talk about them a lot with the players that you might work with individually. So quite a broad knowledge that you need there. So nothing sort of super specialist. I think you need to be a jack of all trades, and also just a great team player. Want to get along and do the best and give these players a great experience. That's what we want. All the players that I meet now that are sort of in their 30s, they all say, "Oh, I remember those days, County Cup. What a weekend that was." You know, and they've either got kids or they're coaching kids, and they want to talk about it with the same passion that I hope that overspills a whole weekend, whether it's Friday to Sunday or just a Saturday, Sunday. So in a nutshell, Lewis, there it is. So any coaches out there that want to get involved, you know, put yourself in a position by working with great players at your clubs, you know, put them into a good level, and suddenly you get a call. You get the call from us in the office and we say, "Hey, do you want to get involved?" You know?
I think certainly, yeah, you're right. I think certainly the captains have always, after, you know, captained a team, they've always regarded it as sort of quite a proud moment of their, you know, tennis careers. You know, as you said, being in Surrey, they have, you know, access to some of the best players in the country, you know, playing against some of the best players in the country. So it's, yeah, it's a real honour. And, you know, as Justin said, do get in touch. In terms of the next subject that you wanted to discuss, you want to discuss the National Series finals. So do you want to take us through what you wanted to say?
Yeah, this weekend we've got the under-10s through to the under-14s National Series finals. This is a great event that the LTA puts on during the summer. Do you remember we talked about it a couple of last series or the episode before, was where they just put all the players into box leagues. Most of the players sort of had to drive away a little bit and play 8 to 10 matches over a couple of weekends, 2 or 3 weekends. So great opportunity for the players to get really good competition in and around their standard. And then you get to the end of the box leagues. There are winners that all go through to the national finals. And I'm really, really proud to say that from the 10s to the 14s, we've got representatives in every single final. And they're small draws, 8 players in each draw. So under 10 boys, I'm just saying, well done. Big shout out to all these players. Under 10 boys, Neo Armas, go get it, bring it home. Under 10 boys, well done. Under 10 girls, Katie Randall, get out there and give it loads. Under 11 boys, Mark Saban, bring it home. Come on, Mark. Under 11 girls, she's Isha, WTA girl, Anjali Vasanthan. You know you can do it. Get out there. Use your variety that you know you've got. In the under 12 boys, Lewis, we've got 2 representatives. Jesse Clarkson, fights like crazy. Love that guy's heart and spirit. And Liam Channon, very skillful, very, very strong competitor. Good luck, boys, in the 12s. And under 12 girls, we've got Srinidhi Madhu. Love the way this girl works. Great intensity. And then, you know what I love more than anything else, Lewis, about players that can compete like their life depends on it, but they've got a big smile on their faces. You know, I like that. I like that about Srinidhi. She's got a great smile. I love that. Under 14 boys, very, very tough competitor. Really proud of Jamie Dyack. You know, he's represented Great Britain on several occasions. Get out there, Jamie. You're not under 14. You're not under 14 for much longer. Get out and smash it this weekend, mate. And in the under 14 girls, very committed girl, very committed family. One of 3 tennis playing sisters, Allegra Korpanek-Davis. Good luck, Allegra. I know you've been working hard all through the summer, I think in France, if I remember rightly. So all our players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of you, get out there and smash it. Work hard. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But leave it all out there.
Wow, there you go. Where can people keep up to date with the scores, Justin? Is there a place you would suggest they go to
yeah, if you've got the LTA software app, if you've got the British tennis app right there, there it is. You can look at tournaments and you can put in LTA Youth National Series finals. That's what I've just done there. And we can click on the draws, and there it is there. There's all the draws that I was just referred to. So
Brilliant.
we've got the LTA British tennis app, which looks like that one there. You can keep up to date. That's the best thing.
We'll put something. We'll put something on the screen now as well to give you a direct link as well. But it's well worth keeping up to date, because to have that many Surrey players is pretty awesome. So
tremendous. So we'll be updating everybody on their progress next week. You know, so great job. Other than that, it's been a fairly quiet week on the tour. Not an awful lot going on. Surrey's Joe Salisbury had a disappointingly close effort in Hamburg at the 500 there in preparation for French Open, but pleased to say playing very well, serving very well. He came back for a couple of days after US Open. We did some work. He's out there with myself and Louis Caillet, the genius of doubles coaching, but actually came back to do some serving practice. So again, all the players out there, coaches out there, parents out there, if things don't go well, and this is what I find myself saying all the time, what are you going to do about it? That's all that matters. Don't want to hear about it. All I want to hear about, don't want to hear any moaning or groaning. All we want to know is what you're going to do about it. Have you got a basket of balls? Oh, you do. Have you got a racket? Oh, you do. Well, don't sit on the couch and moan about it for a couple of hours. You could have been serving. You could have been putting things right. So Joe flew back straight onto court next day, onto court, right, what have I got to do? And what a great attitude. So went to Hamburg. How tough is your draw? You play Kulov and Mektic first round. These are the guys that Joe and Rajiv played in the semi-finals of the US Open. So suddenly you're playing them first round in an ATP 500. And they just got squeaked 12-10 in the match tiebreak. Tough way to earn your jelly beans, isn't it? It's a tough way. It's tough. But the good news was, and this is what's key as well, you're not looking for instant miracles. You stay very focused on your process. And the feedback was, because unfortunately we can't watch the ATP 500s on television online. Can you believe they don't show it anywhere? I just said, how was it? Serve and return, great. Serve and return, great. So that's progress. That's come back, 2 days of work, serve and return, great. Don't go in and say, oh no, rubbish, lost, chuck the baby out with the bathwater, no good, or tennis is no. Stay focused. Of course it was better because he worked really hard. So going into French Open, he has every reason to be feeling good about his game. So that's the Surrey Pro update. Look at that, Lewis. We've gone from under 10 boys and girls, Neo and Katie, and we finished with the top of the tree.
There we go.
5 in the world.
There's the pathway.
Off to the Grand Slam, and we do it all, all in the same breath.
Brilliant. There we go. Exactly. And to move on to an Ask Justin question. So last week we let you all know that we want to start introducing an Ask Justin part of the episode where you have the opportunity to ask Justin anything you want, whether it's technique related, mentality related, equipment related. And we picked one today to read out, and it's from a coach, Kate Marici, who asks, Justin, who was the person most important to you in tennis where you were primary school age? Who did you look up to, and how did they impact the early part of your tennis journey? So that's from Kate Marici.
Very good. Well, Kate, thank you for that question. I hope you're very well. And this goes out to all the coaches and parents and players, and I'll explain why in those areas. I didn't play much tennis when I was in primary school because I played loads of sports. I didn't play loads of tennis until I got to about 12. And having been quite a successful team player, I don't know why, but I always say this, and I'm sure it isn't true because it sounds dreadful, but maybe I got fed up of sharing the trophy with the other teammates. I said, well, why have I only got to have it for a month? Or why do I have to share it? I kind of want that trophy. So where can I? And then I started playing tennis against the back wall when I was about 11 or 12. And I went down the park because I believe that's where all the courts were. And I was very, very fortunate. So you need a little bit of luck, and you come across a coach. And I was about 12, and you come across one of the legends of inner city park tennis, a chap called David Sims, who I'm still in contact with, who's just an absolute tennis god. And it was his passion and his interest. And he saw me playing a match with a buddy of mine, or I might have even been serving because I had no one to play against, or I might have even been dropping the ball and whacking it down the other end and dreaming I was Ivan Lendl or Mats Wilander or Stefan Edberg or Boris Becker. And he came over and he just said, hey, how you doing? I'm David. I'm a coach here, and I've got a little program, and we get a few players together. If you want to join us, here's my card. And he gave me a little card. He said, of course, ask your parents first. So I sort of said, well, that's great. Yeah, thank you. But I could feel his energy, and it was great. He had an old shell suit on, and he had a headband on, and he looked a bit like Bjorn Borg. And later on, having got to know him, I think that was his idol, was Bjorn Borg. So then I got involved with this group of players, and we had loads and loads of fun. But I'm telling you right now, it was very, very competitive, very, very competitive. My nearest and dearest competitive friend at the time was Hareen Wasantha, who set up Tennis Avenue in Surrey. And it's interesting that we both competed like crazy in the park under the guidance of David Sims, who coaches both. And we both now passionately have our tennis programs. So maybe Kate Marici, who was your motivation for what you're doing in the parks? Who was your inspiration to do all that you're doing? Because somewhere along the line, someone has really sort of connected with you and sort of helped you to discover that tennis is your calling. So the reason I said that's for, who's that to? Who's that to? Coaches. Don't underestimate your value. Don't underestimate your role in a player's life. Doesn't matter what level. Doesn't matter. Connect with them. Reach them. Make them feel good. Make them feel good if they're going to just feel good about themselves as people. Make them feel good if they're trying out for their school team. Make them feel good if they want to have a bit more coordination in PE. Make them feel good when they turn up to national championships or county finals. Make them feel good when they're heading off to the French Open. Just make them feel good. And that's your job. Because as soon as you connect with someone here, it's kind of there for life. And that's what David Sims did for me. So, and players, if you don't have that feeling with your coach, then I feel that you're missing something. So I don't know if there's another way of really falling in love with tennis unless the people around you are really invested emotionally and passionately the same way. So anyway, that's my story, but I hope there's plenty of players out there with the amount of great coaches that we've got. And I mentioned a few of them today. There'll be a lot of crazy firework, fizz bomb connections going on in clubs all around Surrey. All pinging away, coaches and players, coaches and parents, parents and players, parents and coaches. It's all happening. And those are the sort of emotional sort of connections that we're trying to make. And David Sims made it with me, and I'm forever grateful.
Wow. And is there anything you've carried through that, David, or you sort of picked up from him at that age? Is there anything you've carried through from that into your career now?
Yeah, very much so. David always used to explain things. It was never, why are we doing this? Because I said so. He always used to explain the reason why we're doing a drill. Why are we doing it? So even now I find myself saying, right, today we're going to battle cross court. We're going to hit cross court because it's the most hit shot. It's the most direction that any player is going to hit in a match. It's cross court. And rather than just saying we're hitting cross court, why? Because that's what players do. Don't you know anything? Try and explain everything that you're doing. Because you know so much more as a coach than the player does. The player might be finding something out for the first time. So why do I need to come in on that ball? Explain why it's easier for a player to move forward to the net when they've got forward momentum, and it's easier to then close the net down, or explain things. And that's what I feel David did very well. And, you know, especially if you've got reasonable use of the English language, use it. And you may have to use different words with different people, but David was incredibly intelligent as well. I mean, he was on university challenge, and I remember he got like 15 O levels. Yeah, he was a really bright man. So I've always tried to invest in my own education and make sure I understand things fully before I try and tempt them to, you know, sell them or imprint them on a young player, because their minds are open. They're like sponges. So make sure what you're selling is good stuff.
He sounds like a real student of the game.
Yeah,
like.
very much so, very much so. But he did have his. I was more of an Ed Berg and Johnny Mac fan. I think he was more of a Bjorn Borg fan. That's the only area that we might have differed. But thanks for the question, Kate.
Perfect. Well, look, we only have time for one question asked Justin today. But as always, in the description below and on screen now, you'll see how you can submit your question. So please do get that in. Just before we wrap up today, I just want to announce that the National League Junior Team Trophy is now launched. So that's Surrey's primary winter junior team event. We've got something like 300 odd teams competing. That's starting from now, and group stages last until December, and then the knockout stages last until March. So very exciting. So teams all around Surrey will be getting ready to start competing, which is exciting. So if you think you're in a team and you haven't heard anything yet, speak to your club. They will have all the information you need. So
good luck to all those teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Good luck.
So so brilliant. Look, we're going to wrap up there, Justin. Thank you so much. We will be back next week for more discussions on all things tennis. So we'll see you very soon.
Great stuff, everybody. Have a great week.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Bye.